Hey everybody, Aaron Cowan, Sage Dynamics, and this is the Q Trash Panda multi-cal suppressor. Not too long ago there was some buzz in the industry about a new firearms and firearms accessory company named Q, which has a pedigree that comes from Sig Sauer and AAC. They were bringing some, on face value at least, some innovative products to market and some different approaches to things that have been done the same way for a very long time. They offer firearms as well as suppressors, and the Trash Panda is one of those suppressors that's offered, and it's definitely, when it was released, created some interesting buzz because of not only necessarily the features, but the marketing is quite clever. It's called the Trash Panda, and my feelings for nature's felons aside, the marketing is really clever. Now, marketing is a thing, branding is a thing, and it's something that we're going to see. What appealed to me is the fact that it didn't have the same stiff, we need to take ourselves super seriously, slow-mo videos of military operators using our products and we don't really care about everybody else. It was an interesting approach to a market that is, let's be honest, quite saturated with many choices for anyone who is in the market for a suppressor. So what exactly is Q doing differently from other suppressor manufacturers? Now, I can't speak to some of their other products that are offered, especially the firearms, because I haven't spent a lot of time on there to speak knowledgeably about what those do and what they don't do. But I have spent some considerable time with the Trash Panda. You know, my review process is 2,000 rounds, so that's the extent of the review I did. Now, during the review process, because this is a 30 cal can, I shot both 308 and 5.56 through it. For 308, I used my PWS Mark II 1.4. And for 5.56, I used ADM's UIC carbine. Getting right into the features of the Trash Panda, we have a suppressor that is 1.75 inches in diameter. It's just under 12 ounces and just under 7 inches, which makes for a handy little package for rifles without adding any kind of cumbersome length to them or weight. Weight savings is huge, especially when it comes to suppressors, because it's on the very end of your firearm, so it does create an imbalance depending on the weight of the suppressor, the overall length of the firearm. As far as specifics go, the Trash Panda doesn't have a specific firearm in mind per se, although it is full auto rated. And again, full auto rating, there's really, unless you look at the military's definition of full auto rating, there is no codified definition of what full auto rating actually means as far as performance goes. But it is something that I was able to evaluate during the review process, because I do have machine guns, 5.56 machine guns. So I was able to at least verify the fact that the suppressor could handle the volume of fire that you're going to get from full auto. Now, of course, any suppressor is going to fail if you get it hot enough and you put enough volume through it. And that's definitely something that we want to be concerned with. Even though the average shooter probably isn't going to shoot 500 rounds in 3 minutes, I am. So something I do with any firearms-related accessory, especially firearms themselves and suppressors, is the burn down. I'm going to put 500 rounds through the suppressor as fast as possible. So once I got both firearms that I was going to be using in the review process zeroed with the Trash Panda on them, I went ahead and threw it on that ADM rifle and did the burn down. 500 rounds without any issue that I noticed. The can didn't get louder, it certainly got hotter. And the PVD coating on the titanium body did start to discolor. Not a huge deal. I've got cans where I've literally burnt the Cerakote completely off of them through use and just age over time. So that's not really a serious concern of mine. Although I am curious why they chose to go with the PVD coating. Is it for aesthetics purposes, or is there some kind of inherent advantage to using PVD on titanium versus some other type of coating? I would have liked to seen the coating hold up, personally, but at the end of the day, it's not a huge issue. I'm not going to have the same corrosion concerns with a titanium can that I'm going to have with, say, a stainless steel or even those rare aluminum cans that are floating around out there. So as far as the burn down goes, the Trash Panda did very well. I'm not a very big fan of quick attach suppressors. Generally, when I put a suppressor on a firearm, it just stays there. And I take it off very, very rarely, mainly just for maintenance, or if that can happens to be needed on another firearm. And there are some exceptions to that. I love Surefire's quick attach system. I love Dead Air's quick attach system. But I'm more of a direct thread or taper mount kind of guy, because in my experience, those lend themselves to more accurate cans with less point of aim, point of impact shift when it comes to shooting suppressed versus unsuppressed. The Trash Panda comes with 2 muzzle devices, one for 5.56, one for 30 cal, 308, 300 blackout, whatever your 30 cal flavor is. They call it the Cherry Bomb, and it is it's a cherry bomb. You're not gonna, if you're shooting this thing, just the muzzle device with the Cherry Bomb, it's gonna keep the gun super ridiculously flat. However, you're not likely to make any friends shooting indoors with it, or in a canopy covered range, such as outdoor ranges. A lot of them have overhead canopies. Those canopies are usually made out of some kind of sheet metal, which reverberate sound very, very well. This thing is concussive, but it is nice and flat. So for 3-gun purposes, or just if you want a nice flat gun and you don't spend time in close quarters with other shooters, it's a great, great muzzle device. And the Q threads directly onto it. The can itself has wrench flats, so you can attach that easily, make sure it's tight. And that's one thing that we have problems with certain cans is maintaining that tightness on your direct thread or taper mount style cans. The muzzle devices themselves you can attach and take off with a 10mm ratchet, which I thought was really cool, right there on the head of it. So those are 2 really cool features that the Trash Panda offers. Everybody's going to want to know how it sounds. Sound is kind of subjective, and me at the unassisted ear, I'm not exactly the most objective listener to suppressor attenuation and volume, because I have existing hearing damage. But that's one of the reasons why I love suppressors so much. It does bring it well below the pain threshold. It is a quiet can compared to other cans that are of the same size and the same available gas volume as far as diameter is concerned. My big test for suppressors is, does it present any kind of pain threshold when firing in confined spaces? I shoot from indoors a lot, and I'm not just talking necessarily about an indoor range, I'm talking about very enclosed rooms, and this is always my concern when it comes to suppressors, because being very self-defense focused, I speak to the potential applicability of a suppressor for law enforcement, military, or just self-defense use on your home defense gun. Are you going to be able to shoot that suppressor and not blow anybody's eardrums out or create any kind of concussive disorientation that comes from shooting firearms in those enclosed spaces with people who aren't attuned to it or used to it or wear an ear pro? So shooting the Q in a very small room, the Trash Panda in a very small room, you definitely notice that you're indoors. However, it didn't create any issues as far as, well, hearing was concerned. I was still able to maintain the same level of hearing before and after shooting, which is a good thing. Some of these shorter cans that you see out there, they're great outdoors, and they sound really great outdoors. But when you take them inside, it hurts, and it's an uncomfortable level of pain that you shouldn't be getting in your ears. There's nothing you can do about bone conduction when it comes to sound. Even though you're shooting suppressed, if you're not wearing ear protection, you still are slowly degrading your hearing ability. That's why it's always a good idea to wear at least some level of hearing protection, if possible, when shooting recreationally. My main purpose, or my main view of suppressors, is something that's to be used if there's not time to put on your pro, such as an actual self-defense situation. For those purposes, the Trash Panda does really, really well in the environments that I shot it in. Accuracy is always a question when it comes to suppressors. Generally, and this is my experience, direct thread suppressors, taper mount suppressors tend to tighten up accuracy on firearms a little bit more than what you're going to get from some of the quick detach systems that are out there. So I was expecting that from the Trash Panda. Now, for the accuracy evaluation, I put it on my PWS Mark 214, which is a 14.5 inch 308 shooting Hornady 168 grain boat tail hollow point match, which is my go-to round for that particular rifle. I'm going to zero the gun. I zeroed the gun with the Trash Panda on it and fired a 5-round group. That's the accuracy I expected out of that rifle, because again, it is a 1 MOA gun. Now, the next question, of course, is for those of you who shoot with suppressor on, shoot with suppressor off, is am I going to have a point of aim, point of impact shift with the suppressor removed since the gun is zeroed with the suppressor? So I went ahead and took the Trash Panda off and fired another 5-round group. As you can see, there was somewhat of a significant shift, more in the elevation than the windage, which is, of the two, I'll take that. This is something you definitely need to be aware of. Now, the shift is consistent. Put the can back off, or I should say, put the can back on, take the can back off, you're going to get that same shift every single time. So it's something you could account for with your dope. Another question that people have is, if you take the suppressor off and then put the suppressor back on, is it going to return to zero? So here is my return to zero 5-round group. And I'd call that good. The gun shot a little under 1 MOA with the suppressor on, and then went back to its normal 1 MOA behavior with the suppressor off, and I got a return to zero. Some people is going to think a shift like that is necessarily the end of the world. I kind of feel like maybe you haven't been around a lot of suppressors, or maybe you just have that one really good suppressor, so you haven't seen shifts like that. But I've seen some pretty significant and much worse shifts than that with other suppressors out there, and that's by no means defending their performance. I think that it's definitely something that needs to be taken account by Q in future revisions or future suppressors, is to try to tighten that down a little bit more as they are able to see that the point of aim, point of impact shift isn't so severe. And of course there's a lot that goes into that, not only the suppressor design, but the muzzle device you're going to choose as well. And then maybe specifically targeting just one caliber versus trying to offer a suppressor that's multi-cal. And even though technically a 30 cal can, you can shoot anything you want smaller than that through the suppressor as long as the firearm can support it, and it'll cycle the gun if it's a gas operated system. Sometimes it's nice to say, no, you should just use this caliber because the can is specifically built for just this caliber. And that's something that I think that there's too little of today in the suppressor industry, but that's kind of a different topic. I'm happy with their performance that I got, and I'm aware that, you know, the point of aim, point of impact shift is evident. It's there, but it's not something that's really super surprising because it's a factor in suppressors. My final thoughts on the Trash Panda are pretty straightforward. I like it. I like it because it's light. I like it because it's shorter, and I like it because even though it is light, I don't have to worry about a cooling period. I've got some other cans that are titanium or titanium aluminum hybrids, and they have, like, you're only supposed to fire 10 rounds every 10 minutes or something like that, because heat becomes a significant issue and can lead to damaging the suppressor. Whereas the Trash Panda, for all intents and purposes, they call it full auto rated. Well, I shot a lot of full auto through it and I didn't have any problems with it, so I'd go ahead and call that confirmed. It's a light suppressor that's not going to weight down the end of my gun, and it's going to be able to handle the volume of fire I'm going to put through it just during my own general practice and when I'm teaching classes for other specific purposes. And the fact that I can take it and throw it on a couple different guns, of course, is always appealing. And I do prefer the taper mount style, or the direct thread style, to a quick attach when it comes to suppressor. So it's nice to have this option. I do wish they had used a different coating. I don't really care for the PVD. I don't really care for the aesthetics of the colors that are presented, but that's just my personal opinion as far as the aesthetics of the can goes. I don't think the degradation of the PVD that I experienced, or the discoloration, I should say, of the PVD during the review process, is going to negatively affect the metal of the can and cause me any issues such as corrosion or something like that. It's not really a concern. It's just more of an aesthetic thing. I'd much rather a different coating had been used, but that's a very, very minor point, and it's always something that I can take care of myself, be it with Krylon or sending it to somebody to have different kinds of coatings done, like whatever. So if you are interested in the Q Trash Panda, I like it. So I don't really have anything significantly bad to say about it as far as performance goes, other than what's been mentioned in this video, and those are issues that can be addressed by the shooter. I'm Aaron Count with Sage Dynamics. Train accordingly.